I get questions all the time where people asking me, how do they stay consistent with their goals, especially when they're trying to restrain from something, whether it's a fitness goal and they're trying to restrain from falling victims to cravings, or sometimes it's guys trying to give up porn, motherfucking Pornhub, OnlyFans, X-Hamster, XNXX, X videos, Bang Bros, Brazers, YouPorn, whatever. They're trying to give this stuff up. Or maybe it's someone who's like addicted to video games, or they're trying to abstain from certain activity in service of their higher goals. I mean, it's smart that they want to do that, right? Because if you're not willing to sacrifice for your goals, then your goals become the sacrifice. But a lot of people have difficulty actually abstaining from these vices, right? Sometimes it's smoking weed, sometimes it's alcohol, sometimes it's hoes. Maybe there's other shit you guys got going on. Whatever it is, this video is going to help you abstain from these things so you can actually expedite your achievement and start balling and or shot calling at a faster rate. All right. And I know a lot about this because, you know, a lot of times people say they see how I don't eat carbs, and you can eat carbs if you want to. Like, I'm not trying to say carbs are bad. I just do a ketogenic diet. You can do whatever you want. I know you guys like freak out about that shit, but do whatever you want. I want you to be happy. But, you know, that's a strict diet. And people say, man, how do you do that? Don't you ever crave sweets? Don't you ever crave potatoes or rice or candies and cakes? And I'm thinking to myself, candies and cakes? I'm not a woman or a child. The fuck? You know what I'm saying? But whatever, I get it. It seems like an arduous task for them. What happens is when people are trying to mitigate their consumption of some sort of vice, they go about it wrong. What happens is instead of just quitting these things, they try to do it moderately, or they try to reward themselves with these activities after a brief period of abstinence. And they justify it by saying, oh, man, I've been following my diet all week. I deserve this cake. Or I ain't played no video games all week, so, you know, I can have a little bit, man. Everything in moderation. Moderation is fucking you up because abstinence is easier than moderation. Let me explain. So I've quit a lot of things over my lifetime. I quit smoking weed. I used to smoke a lot of weed, especially back in the day when I had a record deal. I used to be signed to Sony Records. I thought, hey, man, if I make the beats high, write the songs high, and record them high, then I'll be high on the charts. That has to be how that works. I wonder why they dropped me. I don't know. Anyway, I was a frequent marijuana consumer. And instead of doing it moderately, I just quit, right? Same thing with alcohol. Instead of having drinks sometimes here and there, oh, I'm a social drinker, no, I just quit. Instead of, you know, carb cycling or doing carbs every once in a while, I just went keto. It's so much easier than moderation is what I found out. Because when you do something moderately, here's what happens. Every time you indulge in those things or you treat yourself with one of these things, then you start to crave it more. But if you just say, hey, I don't do this shit no more. This is not who I am. This is not what I'm on. Then you kind of draw a line in the sand, and it makes it so much easier to abstain from it. But if you're doing it moderately or you're rewarding yourself with these vices every now and then or whatever, then what happens is you kind of torture yourself a little bit. Like you start thinking about the next time you can indulge in these things. And then after you do it, you want it more. Like I may have a cheat day, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 times a year. And it'll be like, you know, a holiday or something. After that cheat day, I start craving carbs. It's the weirdest thing. But normally I don't crave carbs. When you know something's not an option and you know you can't have it, you don't desire it. The desire goes away. So when people say, man, don't you want to drink sometimes? It's like, man, I don't even think about it, right? But if I drank sometimes, I would always think about it, right? Don't you want to get high off that OG Kush? Don't you want to smoke some of that purple Dro Haze? Ah, man, I don't even think about that shit no more. I used to. A lot of my friends were drug dealers. Yo, they just be naming shit different. They be having the same ounce of weed and they just giving it different names. Yo, think about this. The first time you give up something that's when it's most difficult. You start going through withdrawal. That's when the cravings are the strongest. When you first quit, when you do something moderately, you force yourself to keep going through that cycle. You go through this charade over and over again. You have to keep doing the most difficult part over and over again when you do something moderately. So if I said, oh, I'll just drink sometimes, what's really happening is I'm just quitting sometimes. I have to start quitting again sometimes. And that's the hardest part. Once you get used to it, it's fine. But you have to keep doing that shit over. You have to keep doing the most difficult part over and over again. You're not treating yourself when you do that. You're cheating yourself. You're making it more difficult than it needs to be. You're actually making it a far more arduous task when you have to keep starting and stopping. And I think you should think about it like that. Don't think about moderation as, oh, I'm just doing it sometimes. No. You're just quitting over and over again. And you have to go through that withdrawal phase over and over again. However, if you just say, hey, I don't do this anymore, then you only have to go through that shit once. You never have to do it again. Like, I never have to quit smoking weed again. I never have to quit drinking again. You get what I'm saying? But you motherfuckers doing it moderately, you're doing it all the time, right? And I noticed this, with the cheat day, this shit. That's why the cheat day is so fucking rare for me. In fact, I think last year I had one cheat day. It was Christmas Eve. Other than that, man, I don't want to do it anymore because I actually have to quit again. The cravings will be stronger after that indulging in it. It literally makes you stronger. Because if you read a book called Willpower, I've recommended it many times, abstaining from things actually takes willpower. And willpower actually takes glucose. It takes energy to abstain from things. And they tested this on different people. They had tons of studies in the book. I'm not going to bring them up. You read the shit on your own time, or just fucking trust me because I'm smarter than you. But you're wasting your actual energy and willpower on starting and stopping because you have to stop again. So you're wasting your willpower on bullshit. Instead of having to use your willpower all the time, why not just use it once on this thing? This is important because willpower is a resource that gets depleted throughout the day. Studies have shown this. This is why sometimes, spouses, they fight at night or they get in arguments at night, is because they've been using their willpower all day and then they're kind of drained with it by the time they get home. So maybe when your girl says something fucking retarded, you might not have enough willpower left not to call her stupid. I don't know what you got going on, but that's an example. Or you see people snapping at their kids. When are they most likely to do it? When they're drained, when they're tired. Somebody with tons of energy is going to be more patient with their children, going to be more patient with their spouse, going to be more patient in all things. But imagine if you're wasting your willpower even more because you're starting and stopping all the time. It literally makes you weaker. And I don't mean that on some, you're weak, like on some mental alpha male shit. I mean, like, studies show that using your willpower make you physically weaker because you only have so much of it each day. It's like a battery. Why keep wasting it on the bullshit? Just go through that shit once instead of all the time the way you've been doing your whole motherfucking life. And it's not all your fault. A big reason is because you've been lied to. Everyone says this shit. Oh man, moderation. Or, oh man, this enjoy life. Or, you got to do this sometimes, man. Live a little, have some fun, man. You can do it sometimes. People in your life will say this bullshit. Do you want their results? When people whose results I don't want to replicate give me advice, I typically err towards the opposite of whatever they said. So all these motherfuckers telling you, hey man, you can do it sometimes. You can do it sometimes. Maybe you can, depending on the thing, right? But if it's something that you need to quit, right? There are people who fucking drink all the time, get high all the time, do all types of shit and still succeed. I'm talking about the things that you want to quit. Maybe you don't want to quit weed. Fine, I'm not talking about that. But there's something in your life that you're trying to abstain from and you're having trouble with. Apply it to that. I'm not trying to pick on weed, alcohol, or porn, right? You know what I'm saying? I ain't never going to quit porn. I ain't never going to quit consuming it or making it. It's part of who I am. But that's me. It's not affecting me in a negative way. So maybe marijuana, weed, or crack cocaine is not affecting you in a negative way. I'm talking about the things that you're trying to abstain from. I'm not talking about these things in general. Whatever it is you're trying to abstain from. Maybe you want to eat fucking carbs all day. That's cool. I know a lot of people in great shape who eat carbs. No problem. I'm more effective and efficient when I'm on a ketogenic diet. That doesn't mean you will be. I'm talking about the things that you are trying to abstain from. Don't do it moderately. Just put a line in the sand. Make a fucking decision. Hey, I don't do that no more. That's not who I am. People ask me to drink. I feel no pressure when I'm out at a function or an event and people try to offer me drinks. I feel zero pressure. People say, you want to drink? I just say no. And they ask, I'm like, no, I don't drink. So, oh, you just have one drink? Oh, no, I don't drink. And they usually shut up after that. There's only been one person who's challenged me on this. And that was Tristan Tate. And then I saw he was on, they were doing their emergency meme. They was on the podcast with Justin Waller and Sterling Cooper. They were talking about me for a second. Tristan said, I bet I can get Brandon Carter to drink. I got that superpower. Here's the thing. Tristan didn't remember that he tried to get me to drink in Atlanta. It was at a war room meeting. They invited me to come through and he tried to get me to drink and he forgot he did it. Why? Because he was drunk. He was shitty drunk. But he's the only person who tried to pressure me to drink in my whole life.
Relax. I would say if anyone could get Brandon Carter to drink, I think it might be me. I'm that guy. You know what I mean? I've got that superpower.
He's got it. He goes.
People actually respect when you say you don't do it. There's only one person I can think of who would try to pressure you into doing something that you're trying to quit. It's Tristan Tate. As long as you're not at a fucking war room meeting with Tristan Tate, you shouldn't have to worry about it. I digress. Typically, people, not only do they respect it, like it's fine. I'm telling you. After a while, there's no cravings. Initially, there's tons of cravings. It's difficult. You see people drinking. I used to smoke cigarettes. I don't know if I've ever talked about this publicly. I smoked cigarettes since I was 14. I might have quit smoking cigarettes in my early 30s. You know, I never talked about it because I didn't want to influence you guys to smoke cigarettes back then. I didn't want you guys to see, oh, Brandon Carter smokes cigarettes. Shit, I'm going to do it. That's what you do. You see one motherfucker doing something and think it's okay for you. Here's the thing. To get lung cancer, you got to have the cancer gene. I come from a long line of invincible motherfuckers, man. Like, everyone in my family, these motherfuckers smoke, they drink alcohol, they act fucking crazy, they don't take care of their health, they don't do nothing, and they live to be fucking 90 years old, unless, of course, they die from gun violence. If my lineage, you're going to live to 90, no matter how much you smoke. Motherfuckers be smoking packs a day. You're going to live to 90 no matter what, or you're going to die from gun violence. Those are the only two ways you go out if you're in my bloodline. So I just feel like, you know, cigarettes wouldn't affect me. But I think a fan saw me smoking once and I was like, fuck. Now this motherfucker might think it's okay to smoke. Fuck. So I got to stop smoking for you motherfuckers. But that first year, it was tons of cravings. It was super duper. I just quit cold turkey because that's the only way you can do it, right? But for the first year, man, every time I see somebody smoking, I'd be like, man, he's probably really enjoying that, man. I can go for one of those right now. But after a while, the cravings go away. And now I have no cravings. You get what I'm saying? Same thing with alcohol. I have zero cravings. Marijuana, zero cravings. I only have cravings for carbs after a cheat day. And that's why I do it almost never. Abstinence is easier than moderation when it comes to quitting something. It's so much easier to quit it than it is to do it sometimes or fuck around out here with it. I urge you guys to think about the things you're trying to abstain from. I know for a fact you will have greater success and it will be easier for you to abstain from these things if you just draw a line in the sand and say, I don't do this anymore, right? And don't make exceptions. Don't do it sometimes. Don't try to reward yourself. Don't give in to any pressure. Live a little, blah, 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 blah. After a while, they'll stop. Right? They may do it initially. They might say, hey, man, you can have some of this. Smoke some weed with us, man. We out here. I don't know what kind of shit y'all on, but your boys might be here. Watch the porn, smoke a weed, and fuck, get high, whatever you guys do. If you just quit, after a while, the cravings will go away. People will stop pressing you, and then you'll be disgusted by it. Like now, when I see a cigarette, I don't think, oh man, that motherfucker's really enjoying it. I feel nothing. And that's where you want to get to it. And the only way to do that is 100% abstinence. I have another video on how to break bad habits and how to replace them with new habits. It should be popping up somewhere around here now. Maybe it's here, maybe it's covering my face. I don't even know where it is. Click it now.